We're going to get below zero temperatures out here. And if an animal was kept like this in somebody's yard, the sheriff would be over arresting that person for animal abuse.
As the temperature drops, a coyote controversy heats up at a Cook County forest preserve.
Tomorrow, residents and their veterinary experts will try to convince the Forest Preserve Board that it's time to move that animal.
Sally Schulze reports from the northern suburbs.
For most of its life, this 4-year-old coyote has lived here in an enclosure at the River Trail Nature Center in Northbrook. Along with some injured birds, the Forest Preserve calls them ambassador animals to teach us about wildlife. But some Northbrook residents call this animal cruelty.
It's inhumane. Taxpayers are funding this cruelty.
There's nothing natural about a coyote in a cage for his entire life. It's not a life, it's cruelty.
This all stems from a case of mistaken identity. When the coyote was born in Tennessee, someone thought it was a dog. By the time the mistake was discovered, the pup had imprinted on humans, so life in the wild wasn't possible. Since then, Brian Winters and his team here at the Nature Center have cared for the animal.
This coyote doesn't just require the usual care that one would give to an animal like this, but also regular human interaction. If for all intents and purposes, we are his family.
The Forest Preserve says the animal's enclosure as well as its care meet all the requirements set by the USDA as well as state law. So those fighting it say maybe it's time for the rules to change.
Just because current laws are in place condoning this, things need to be changed. This is unacceptable, absolutely heartbreaking.
They're also concerned it's just too cold. Water bowls visible in other animal cages were frozen over Monday morning.
An animal that has evolved over millions of years to live in a cold climate like this, he's fine.
A petition to move the animal to a wild animal sanctuary in Colorado has more than 2,000 signatures. Irene Sewell has visited and says Illinois taxpayers wouldn't pay a cent.
He'd be able to roam in a natural environment and be with other coyotes. He'd be able to be a coyote.
On Tuesday, they'll try to convince the Forest Preserve Board to make the move. In Northbrook, Sally Schulze, Fox 32, Chicago.